If you're feeling overwhelmed by what seems to be a constant barrage of bad news and discord in the world right now, today we're going to give you tools you need to move from wondering if things will change and starting to be the change. We're talking about kindness today, why the world needs it more than ever, and how it benefits both givers and receivers. And then we'll share a few small, easy steps that anyone can take and start today. And we'll close with a remarkable story of how one simple act of kindness completely changed the giver's life. And a song that MK wrote to help kids understand how kindness works.
Hey, looking forward to that. Now, you might be asking, who is this video for? Well, it could be for the 1 in 3 adults who feel lonely at least once a week, according to researchers, or the 10% who feel lonely every day. Or it could be for the 53% of teens who report feeling lonely and isolated most of the time.
Oh my. Hi, I'm Cindy Stauffer. I'm a psychologist and a certified 8th grade coach.
Super. And if I haven't met you yet, I am MK Mueller, the author of 8 to Great and the 8 to Great curriculum and coaching program. And if you agree with us that this is an important topic, you learned something new today, hey, remember to subscribe. We really appreciate that. It helps us get the word out.
Why kindness matters. Kindness actually acts as a powerful antidote to loneliness, not only for the receiver, but the giver too. And it fosters social connection and helps shift our focus outward rather than inward. Loneliness is much more than a feeling. It's a serious health risk, actually. Research links it to anxiety, high blood pressure, heart disease, depression, and it's also associated with higher rates of violence and suicide. So if we want the world to be a friendlier place, it starts with us.
Absolutely. And what we're going to do today is talk about 4 different tips that we have to help you. But again, we want to help anybody out there who's feeling invisible. I have a lot of coaching clients who tell me that sometimes they feel invisible, which is the worst thing, right? We just want to be seen. So why is now the time for a kindness revolution? Well, hello, the Surgeon General in 2023 declared it a national health emergency, loneliness, an epidemic. Isn't that amazing? So that was even before the political division started. Yeah, don't get me started on that. So investigators look at the background of mass shooters, and what do they see? Isolated and alone. Boy, I wish I didn't have one, but I have a very personal story about this. When I lived in Omaha, there was a shooting at one of our malls that took 7 people's lives, including the young shooters. He was 18 years old at the time, and I always want to know the backstory when I, hear a story like this. And sure enough, he had dropped out of school because he was bullied. Then he moved in with the woman who didn't hardly know his name. He had even showed her the gun the night before, and she said, yeah, thinking it was a fake gun, whatever. So he was just longing for someone to see him, and I believe stop him, and we did not show up for him. So again, invisible is the worst possible place any of us could be, and we're going to help you start seeing the invisible people later on.
Yes, there's something we can all do. That's for sure. And one of my favorite quotes from the 8 to Great program is, people would rather be unlovable than invisible. So very true.
So let's start with that then. How to see the invisible people. So today I challenge you to go through your community and just notice people you've never noticed before. It could be the person who's stocking the shelves. It could be a receptionist, just somebody who you're looking at your watch, you're looking at your phone, you're just not looking up at them. And imagine how it feels to be them all day. This was really brought home to a lot of us during COVID. So I have a story about a friend of mine. She went to Walmart for the first time. There was a time we couldn't go to Walmart, and then all of a sudden we could. And she went, and she realized that anyone who was showing up there stocking the shelves, which of course is essential to keeping the store open, was basically risking their lives, because at that time we did not know how COVID was transferred, nor did we have a vaccine. So literally taking her life in her hands. And so my friend went up to her and said, I'm just going to read it here. Ma'am, I want to thank you for your service. You are making it possible for the rest of us to get what we need to get through this weird time. You're welcome, the woman replied. I try not to think about the risk and just do my job. Thank you. I really needed this today.
Yeah, so what a great story that is.
Yeah, you can imagine. It wasn't just the receiver, but again, the giver who felt so much better.
Yes.
Well, we have a second kindness tip, and those are kindness cards. So after hearing my friend's story, I decided to make seeing the invisible people a habit. I committed to thanking one person each day who is serving me. Again, the handyman at church, or the custodian, or, the customer service agent that I talked to on the phone for a few minutes. The result has been amazing. It feels so good that I decided to make some cards. Why not make some cards? So we created little cards that say, thank you, I appreciate you on them. Now, I don't always give them out. I might give out a couple a week, and I'm going to thank probably 4 or 5 people a week, and that's in any given week. But what I love about the cards is, you can make them so easily, is that they're blank on the back. So, in fact, Cindy, you and I were at lunch one day, right? And the waitress was just so sweet that I wrote her a note on the back. And next time I went in, she was there, and she remembered me and said, oh my gosh, I love your card. I kept it. Isn't that interesting? Kept a card that just said thank you. So again, we provide them for you if you want to purchase them from us, but it's just so easy to make. It's probably just easier to make your own. And that's, again, thank you. I appreciate you, whatever you want to, and leaving the blank back. All right.
So that takes us to kindness tip 3. And I love that story, and I have no difficulty envisioning MK doing this with a lot of people, or myself. And some of us are more outgoing than others. So I'd like to tell you a little story if you're having any kind of reservation about walking up to complete strangers. There was a woman, Anne, in one of my 8 to Great courses who is a very kind woman, but doesn't tend to be real outgoing or to approach strangers. And one day she was standing in line at the post office, and there was a veteran standing behind her in this very long line. And she decided to take a risk. That was the topic of our class that day, taking risks. She took a risk and turned around and said to the man, "Would you like to go in front of me?" Now, that may not sound like a big deal to some of you, but to her, this was a big step she was taking. The man thanked her and declined, but she decided to take it a step further and tell him that she appreciated his service as a veteran. She had a really, really good feeling after doing this and shared it with the group because this was a big step for her. But look at how she had to have impacted the man standing behind her. And I'm sure he'll never forget that.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing? Just something so simple, it takes seconds. Well, a kindness tip 4, we're going to teach you how to play games. So Cindy, can I go first?
Sure.
I'm going to teach you how to teach young ones. Share with you. Again, feel free to contact me and email us, mk@8togreat, and we'll get you the lyrics to this song. But I love writing songs, and I think sometimes kids learn things better with a song. So here is how I introduce the song when I'm talking to, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders. Mostly that's kind of who this is for, because they have to know what a double is. So basically we started with an acronym, KIND, K-I-N-D. Keep identifying new doubles. And what we remind the students is, does it feel good to get something, kids? Cindy, you can be the kids.
Oh, yes, it does. I love getting things.
Yeah, we all do, right? It feels good. Now, what if I told you there's something that feels twice as good, that feels doubly good? Would you want to know what that is?
I'll take it. Yes.
Okay, so it's an act of kindness because not only will you feel good, but the person that you give to will feel good, and often that makes you feel even better. So, wow, wow, wow. So that's a double, two people instead of just one. So, one of the things we say in 8th grade is double feels twice as good as single. And we have cards, kids. If you're looking for a thank you card, go ahead and make your own thank you cards that say, thank you, I appreciate you. And remember, the school nurse, the cafeteria worker, the traffic person, or your mom, they don't get thank you notes very often. And just filling out that card for them might really make a difference. So, in order to help you remember, I wrote a little song. You ready?
Ready.
When we get something, it feels good. When we give something, it doubles. It's the answer to our problems, the solution to our troubles. When we watch for ways to double, it's like blowing lots of bubbles. It makes everyone around us want to smile. When we get something, it feels good. When we give something, it doubles. It's the answer to our problems, the solution to our troubles. So instead of doing grumbles, let's identify some doubles and help the whole world feel good in a while. Yes.
Ta-da! I have a feeling adults are going to be singing that to adults.
All right, so that's
good.
our first game. Okay, now Cindy has an adult game, which is so fun. I can't wait to play it.
Yes, I want to tell just a little bit of background about Trisha and her two friends who decided they wanted to do something proactive to feel better in today's world. And they started a kindness group and actually had 18 people at their first meeting. And what they passed out at this meeting were bingo cards. And MK can show you what the bingo card looks like.
Here it is.
Here it is.
I know it's small print, but.
Yes, and all sorts of cool, helpful things people can do, not only, well, for others and themselves, but, includes create a neighbor phone tree, shop at a local business, compliment a stranger, list all the kind things you see in a day. And it goes on and on.
Yeah.
Share this card with 5 people. And a friend made this up. They didn't purchase it. They made it up. And hopefully something like this is going to go viral.
Absolutely. I love the, make a meal for someone grieving or in need. And sometimes people say, do you want me to make you a meal? It's better just to take the meal over, I've been told. But, I just love this. And just today, we're having I live in a condo association. We're having all of the condos painted this week. And so people are taking their screens off so that we can be power washed. Well, there's a couple of people who just that's going to be a hardship for them to get out and take off their screens. And it was so fun watching how many people said, don't worry, we got this. We made a little crew to do that. So it does. That's one of the many, many, many reasons I love this neighborhood. But thank you to Trisha. Woohoo. And yeah. And I'm sure AI can help you think of some, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what did she call it? Good neighbor bingo. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Good neighbor bingo.
So cute.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys. So again, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to tell my story now because we did promise you a life-changing story. And the life that was changed was mine. I was a high school teacher for 10 years. I might tear up here. And loved it. But one summer, my my marriage fell apart and I landed up in the shelter for domestic violence. I did not realize I was in a domestic violence marriage, but lo and behold, I was. I went into the shelter for 30 days, and when I came out, the school year had already started, and so I wasn't teaching anymore. And what I did was I threw myself into studying, what did happy, healthy, successful people do differently? Because I'd gotten a lot of A's in school, and obviously, the answers weren't there because I still had made this amazingly dumb decision to choose to marry someone who did not respect me. And I learned there that people will treat you the way you believe you deserve to be treated. And so I had to change who? Me. At any rate, so I started a little business and I started speaking locally, and it just exploded. Boy, was I not the only person who needed this message. I called the class back then, Taking Care of Me, The Habits of Happiness. I actually wrote a book about that and started classes. And the classes, again, I never had to market. They just were word of mouth. So everything was going well, I thought. Until one day I went into my little office that I had now rented in a very nice building with my wonderful little assistant sitting there, part-time assistant. And I walked in and she goes, "Hi, we need to talk." And I said, "Oh, okay," thinking, maybe she needs to quit or something. And she said, "Yeah, it's time to order more books, but I can't because our credit card is full." To which my reply was, "We have a credit card?" Yeah, you got to go back a ways, right? We're in the 1980s here, end of the 80s. And she said, "Well, yeah, I asked you and you signed it." And so anyway, so when I found out that we were $10,000 in debt, which again, in 1988 was a lot of money, especially for a small business owner, I said, oh. And I went to my desk and I said, maybe you need to go home today. I just need to think. And I just had a good cry and realized I needed to close that office. I couldn't pay the rent. I needed to let her go. I needed to move back into an office in my basement. But then I said, "Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I should even be in business because I just don't know how to run a business." So it was in the middle of winter, and I remember that day saying, "Okay, I got to pay my utility bill, but I can't use the credit card because the credit card doesn't work." So, because she said that's how I used to pay the utility bills was with the credit card. So I went and walked there, and right before I got to the front door, there was a gentleman, all of us had our hoods up, who said, "Ma'am, could you spare $1 for bus ride? I just need bus fare." And I said, "Sure, I can." So again, wind whipping around us, I reached in, got the dollar out, handed it to him, and my hood fell off, and he goes, "Oh, you're that lady." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "You're the lady that saved my life." And I said, "I did?" And he said, "Yeah, I was at the recovery shelter and I was doing the 12 steps and that was good, but I really needed the 8 to Great to help me really, turn my life around, ma'am. I'm sober. I'm out of cash, but I'm still sober today, and I just want to thank you, and please never stop what you're doing." Now, Cindy and I and the 8 Great coaches don't believe in coincidences, do we?
Right.
So what a miracle. What an angel. But an angel that I only could have met if I was willing to just take a moment to be kind on a cold, windy day in Omaha. So again, guys, we can't tell you enough how much you're going to be blessed. And, all those people who say, nobody sees me, take just 1 week. They say if you just do 4 kind acts a week, your mental health will turn itself around. I know it's risky, especially when you're having a low self-esteem day. But again, if you had no fear, what would you do? That's our coaching for you today. We're so grateful that you joined us. Have a kind of awesome week.
And thank you for joining us. See you next time.